joined here by the chair of our board of directors, Mark Bunting, who heads our entire 25-member board of volunteers. Mark's led the staff through the past 3 years, including this last year and a half, which was certainly the greatest challenge in our history, and we're very grateful for your leadership, Mark. Also, Sam O'Neill is here, who sits on the board on behalf of our county executive, somewhere out there. Hi, Sam. Good to see you in the real world. 40 years ago, on this pier, thousands of Baltimoreans and Marylanders came together to witness the grand opening of something new and very special on Baltimore's revitalized Inner Harbor. And this was no mere aquarium. Its design was revolutionary and its architecture was unique in the world. Perched over the harbor, it was a bold statement that Baltimore's waterfront was back in business. Ultimately, it led to a renaissance in dozens of waterfront cities throughout the world. And it was the beginning of what Time magazine memorably, and a little bit pun-worthy, called the dawning of the age of aquariums. So that moment in 1981 was much more than just a grand opening. It was an announcement to the world that this city, in this state, was willing to take the bold step of redefining itself. And in doing so, Baltimore became the envy of every waterfront city in America. Gathered on this pier on that day were leaders from every level of government. Among them were Governor Harry Hughes and, of course, Mayor William Donald Schaefer, the spark behind this brash project. And today we're very fortunate and very proud to be joined by many visionary leaders who have continued that legacy and delivered on the promise that brought this institution to life. So I'm pleased to recognize very briefly, and we'll more formally in a moment, our Governor, Larry Hogan, Comptroller Peter Franchot, Senate President Bill Ferguson, County Executive Johnny Olszewski, Senator Sarah Elfreth, Delegate Brooke Learman, and representatives for Mayor Brandon Scott and State Treasurer Nancy Kopp. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today, and especially for your unswerving support. In a few moments, we'll hear from several of these leaders, but first, let me just share a couple of interesting facts about this unique public institution. Since its inception, the National Aquarium has been known affectionately as the People's Aquarium, in recognition of something that very few like it can claim. Unlike many of the public aquariums that were inspired by this one, ours was not funded by a billionaire benefactor. Ours was built by the grit and determination of a can-do city and its taxpayers, and its success over these 40 years can be attributed to the same citizens and political leaders who showed so much foresight so many years ago. So in these 40 years, 56 million people have crossed these thresholds and visited this aquarium, where they've learned about the aquatic wonders of the world. 3 generations of Maryland school kids have grown up with this marvelous resource in their backyard. And it's one of my favorite tasks as a CEO to look at pictures with people that they show me of themselves when they were 1 or 2 years old standing in front of the aquarium. For those of us who remember the opening as adults, it's a little bit sobering too, but we'll skip over that. This is America's one and only national aquarium. And if I can leave you with only one thought today, let it be this. The success of this institution was no accident. The intelligent investments in this facility by the public sector have been a steady, reliable, and invaluable component of that success throughout those years. It's no hyperbole to say that we would not be here today to celebrate this aquarium's place as one of the world's greatest, were it not for that selfless support and reinvestment. Year after year, and I speak for the board, the staff, the volunteers, the members, and every community that we serve in this great city and state when I say how much we appreciate that stewardship. Annually, the aquarium generates over $450 million in economic activity, $30 million in state and local tax revenues, and 4,500 jobs in this region. As we look forward to our next 40 years, I can assure you that we will build on that success in partnership with both the public and private sectors as we reinvest in the aquarium's world-class campus, its groundbreaking educational programs, its innovative community conservation initiatives, and its long-standing commitment to environmental and social justice in this city and state. That partnership begins with the state of Maryland, and over these years, the state has been the single largest investor in the aquarium's growth and success. Put simply, we are the envy of every other aquarium in America, thanks to Maryland's executive and legislative branches of government. And that brings me to our governor, Larry Hogan. When we came to Governor Hogan several years ago to ask for his help in replacing the 684 painfully panes of specially manufactured glass that make up our iconic rainforest exhibit, he responded by including a grant of $5 million in his capital budget proposal. In early 2020, we agreed to work on raising the remaining $3 million over the following year. Well, we all know what came next. The COVID pandemic turned the world upside down, and with it, the aquarium's capacity to generate the remaining needed funds. In one of the toughest years in our state's long history, the Hogan administration stepped up, answered the plea, and invested an additional $2 million. And we'll take a break for our friends from the Baltimore Fire Department. That support, that vision inspired the city, the county, and the private sector to come up with the remainder and ensured that we could go forward with a critical capital improvement, without which we might have been forced to indefinitely close one of our defining exhibits and the most recognizable feature of Baltimore's skyline. Governor Hogan understands the aquarium's value to the state and its people, and the positive impact of his support will be felt for generations to come. So it's an honor to welcome Governor Larry Hogan to this podium. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Good morning. It's wonderful to be here with all of you, with so many distinguished guests to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the National Aquarium. Year after year, this remains the #1 attraction here in Baltimore, bringing more than 1.5 million visitors to the Inner Harbor, as well as being one of the top 3 aquariums in America. And I want to sincerely congratulate the members of the board, the naturalists and scientists, each and every one of the volunteers and all of the passionate conservationists who help with the rescue and welfare of the thousands of incredible animals from all over the world that are on display. Just a couple of weeks ago, the First Lady and I brought all of our kids and grandkids to the aquarium, and it was one of the first things that we've all done together as a family in quite a while. And it was incredible to see my little grandkids' faces light up as they saw the manta rays, the dolphins, and the sharks. And especially, they were very excited and awestruck by the incredible jellyfish exhibit. Who knew that was going to be the highlight? But if you haven't seen it, you got to check out the jellyfish. But it's a day that I'm sure that they'll remember for years to come. And just like so many other visitors who come here every single year. Since 1981, the National Aquarium has been not only an amazing tourist destination and educational resource, but also a major economic anchor for Baltimore City, creating $455 million in economic activity each year and supporting 4,500 jobs in Maryland, including the 350 jobs right here at the aquarium. And our administration has been proud to strongly support the aquarium's continued success over the years. Since I took office, we've invested an additional $14 million in the National Aquarium, including, as was mentioned, coming up with the funding to help with the iconic glass pyramid replacement above the rainforest, and to help the aquarium make it through the challenges of COVID-19. We put in much needed pandemic relief and provided support enabling the development of a new virtual education opportunity with reached 24,000 Maryland students across the state when they couldn't be here in person. And we're just so pleased to report today that attendance at the National Aquarium is now nearing 2019 levels, which is just fantastic to see people returning here again. It's proof that visitors to Baltimore and local residents do strongly support the mission of this iconic Maryland institution, and we're so proud of the aquarium's success over the past 40 years. I want to congratulate every single person who has played a role in helping to reach this very important milestone. And now I'd like to ask John to please come back up so that I can present him with a governor's citation to officially recognize this special occasion. John, let me take this. Here you go. Let's take a picture of that.
Thank you.
dated today, signed by me and the Lieutenant Governor and the Secretary of State.
Three great friends, thank you.
And then one other kind of special surprise. Some of my staff suggested that I put on a Maryland flag Speedo and jump in the tank trying to recreate this, but instead I have this original poster of William Donald Schaefer with his rubber ducky, and I said, "Happy 40th anniversary."
I'm so pleased you chose the more dignified route.
That would have ruined the entire.
There it is, the equal choice. Thank you so much, Governor. As I said to the Governor, I'm so glad you chose the more dignified approach. Plus, we don't have the seal pool, which means we would have had to send you to the shark pool. That's not a place I want our Governor. He is the big fish, but I don't want to test that principle. Thank you so much, Governor. In our great state, the Governor works hand in glove with his other two partners on the Board of Public Works, the Comptroller and the State Treasurer. Together, they fund the important work of the government. And it's my honor today to thank the Board for its foresight and support. Together, these three leaders understand the economic and fiscal benefits the aquarium brings our state. They've done the ROI, and they know what a sound investment they're making. Although Treasurer Kopp was unable to join us, she is represented today by Joanne Killey, Joanne, from her staff, and I want to thank you, Joanna, for being here, and please give this treasurer our sincerest thanks. Comptroller Peter Francho has been an advocate and friend to the aquarium for every one of his 14 years in that important position, and it's now my honor to welcome him to say a few words today. Mr. Comptroller?
Thank you very much, John. Yeah, no, I was channeling my iconic predecessor there for a minute, and we all kind of regret that the governor declined the opportunity to at least get in with the jellyfish, I guess. But thank you, Governor Hogan, for being a champion for this fabulous facility. And thank you to Bill Ferguson behind me, and County Executive Oshesky, and all of the other officials I see. Sarah Elfrith, who used to work here, now is a distinguished state senator, and obviously Brooke Learman, who is actually running for this iconic office also. And so anyway, obviously this aquarium has defined Baltimore's skyline for many years. It's consistently been ranked as one of the top aquariums in the whole country. Nothing other than Monterey is really its competition. So I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted to welcome all of the guests that I just saw inside. I tell everybody, spend a lot of money if you're here from out of state. We need it, and this is such a great facility. We obviously have 20,000 fish, birds, amphibians, reptiles, and marine animals. I've come up to the National Aquarium many, many times. I'm proud that we've approved, under the legislative direction and the governor's leadership, more than $28 million in capital funding. I will continue to support this wonderful place. John, thank you. Congratulations to you and your staff. Many more years. We are going to take the city of Baltimore into the future in the next 3 or 4 years, because we're reconstructing the damage from pandemic. But I promise you, the aquarium is going to be one of the key parts of that futuristic reinvention of one of the great cities in America, Baltimore. Thank you, John, very much for everything.
Thank you very much, Mr. Comptroller. Thank you very much, Mr. Comptroller. No business gets done in Maryland without the hard work of passing legislation and making laws, and we would not be properly honoring the state without also recognizing the work of the General Assembly. Starting right here in our own 46th district, our delegation has led the Senate and the House of Delegates in sustaining our operations, growing our educational impact, and advancing our conservation mission. Without a hint of braggadocio, I can say that we're blessed with one of the state's most capable and talented delegations. Senate President Ferguson and delegates Learman, Lewis, and Clippinger are not only tremendous supporters, they're also very good friends. We're so proud of your work for the Fighting 46th in this city. And nearby, representing the 10th District, we're lucky to have the support of another true friend, House Speaker Adrian Jones, who was unable to join us today, but is certainly here in spirit. As we look forward to our next 40 years, The National Aquarium is really, truly Maryland's aquarium, and we're grateful to enjoy the support of legislators from throughout the state. That's especially true of the senator from District 30, one of the Senate's true conservationists and one of the Chesapeake Bay's greatest advocates, Annapolis Senator Sarah Elfreth. Thank you for being here today, Senator, and I hope you'll keep up the great work for many years to come. It's our great good fortune, though, to be able to say that our own senator is not only a friend, he's also the Senate President. And it's a distinct honor for me to ask Senate President Bill Ferguson to speak today on behalf of the entire General Assembly. Senator?
Good morning. Thank you, of course, John, for this, for inviting us to this wonderful happy birthday celebration to the National Aquarium. You know, the governor sort of stepped on my intended remarks. One of the very first introductions I had to John when he came to become the president was I had this little tiny, small, little coral piece of the National Aquarium. And I like to have things from the 46th District represented in the office so that when people come, they can see the, you know, the incredible assets that we have here in the region in downtown Baltimore City. And John was like, that's just not going to do it. So a couple of weeks later, he came and brought that very same picture signed by Mayor Schaefer and said, you know, I'd like to give this to you on loan. And so it is actually being reframed right now. And what the governor doesn't know is that I actually brought a bathing suit for him in the truck that we can bring. So, no, but in all seriousness, you know, it's funny to think that it's 40 years later. And how has the National Aquarium sustained so long? Well, it is in large part due to the ongoing commitment and passion of the partners who are behind me, from the entire region, our county executive, the comptroller, our governor, who for the last 7 years has demonstrated a sincere commitment to this institution, to my colleagues in the 46th District, Delegate Brooke Learman, Robin Lewis, Luke Klippinger, and my the former lobbyist for the fish, now my colleague representing the 30th District, Senator Elfreth, and the treasurer, and so many other partners. As well, Mr. Bunting, the private sector that has stepped up over and over and over again to invest in this institution. But the real question is why? Why do we do that? Why do we support an event like this? Why do we put millions of dollars into the window replacement? It's a great place. As we've been sitting here, we've been seeing people walk and flourish to this space downtown. But it's really what happens inside this building that has stood the test of time. It is young people who walk through the halls of the aquarium to enjoy the wonderment of life, to be with others, to learn from those who are unlike one another. It's about families who can come and spend just a couple hours with one another to experience those moments of joy and happiness that are the lifeblood of any city or metropolis. That's why we invest. The building is great, but what happens inside is what really, truly matters. And so the last 40 years have brought incredible inspiration. I cannot wait to see what the next 40 behold. Thank you all so much for your continued support. This is a sign of what is to come when we solve problems and we focus on people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator. Very well said. As I mentioned, the state of Maryland is not alone in its crucial support of the National Aquarium. Our local governmental partners, especially Baltimore City and Baltimore County, have been indispensable supporters throughout these past 4 decades. As I've already mentioned, if not for Mayor Schaefer's stubborn determination, we wouldn't be celebrating this day at all. But all these years later, we're grateful for a new generation of city leadership and a mayor with his own measure of determination and grit, Mayor Brandon Scott. From his early days on the City Council, Mayor Scott has been a strong and outspoken advocate for the aquarium, and we're very grateful to him. Sadly, the mayor is attending a funeral this morning, and he could not be here, but he's represented today by Deputy Mayor Ted Carter. And to you, Deputy Mayor, please pass along our commitment to the mayor to continue our long partnership and help him move Baltimore forward. Thank you, Ted. Which brings me to my last and not at all least speaker. And yes, I have to say this because it's true, a man I look up to in so many ways. Baltimore, and I'm sure he's heard that pun 100 times, Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski understands that the Baltimore region does not stop at the city and county line. When the institutions of this city thrive, so does the county, and vice versa. County Executive Olszewski knows the important role the aquarium plays in the lives of county residents, and he's been there for us at every turn. We look forward to continuing to serve county residents for years to come, and I'm pleased to invite the county executive to speak about our unique relationship. County Executive.
Well, thank you, John, and good morning to all. It is my pleasure to be here in support of what has been historic and storied 40 years of the aquarium. It's hard to believe that the mayor, the county executive, and the Senate president are all younger than the aquarium at this point. But what a milestone anniversary for the aquarium, and indeed we are proud to support our aquarium. This is the state's aquarium, this is Baltimore's aquarium, this is also the Baltimore region's aquarium. And just as the Senate president said, there is a wonderment and a story of our lives that has been told around the world by what's inside these walls, in the same way that this institution anchors a city that we love and that is helping to tell the story of the future of this city and our region. And so we are thrilled to support not just the glass replacement, but with over $175,000 this year in operational support, because we know that we are interconnected and that the aquarium's success is Baltimore County's success. So thank you, Governor Hogan, Comptroller, Senate President, our Speaker, all of our state legislators for their support. Thank you, Mr. Bunting, for the private support. Together, we will look forward to celebrating 40 more wonderful years with the aquarium. So thank you.
Thank you very much, County Executive Olszewski. So let me end where I began. This treasure, this institution exists because of the work of the people you've just heard from. And we're the beneficiaries of the intelligent coverage the media has also given the aquarium over these 40 years. In fact, some of you were here at the grand opening. I see Ed Gunn standing front and center here. After we're gone, by the way, this institution will still be here to serve generations to follow. On their behalf, one last time, I want to thank the people behind me for everything they do to better this city, this county, and this state, because their work is felt every day, and we are truly grateful. So this concludes our program. I want to thank you all for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you all back here in at least 2031. Maybe 10 years after that, we'll figure that out later. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to get together for a photo. Great.